Hey everybody, Dave Luer here. Welcome to Motivation Monday. It's another fantastic week. I can't wait to share today's message with you. I hope everybody had a good weekend. If you're watching and you did anything exciting over the weekend, go down in the comments and let us know what you did. I'd love to hear what you guys are up to these days and what your big plans are this week. How are you going to go out there and crush it in your collision repair businesses or whatever other kind of business you might happen to be in? I want to hear from you. So again, welcome. Thank you for coming this morning. We are going live this morning on Facebook from our Elite Body Shop Solutions page and also from our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, it's kind of a new thing, but all of our Motivation Mondays are stored there, so you can go back and watch all of them. If you need a little pick-me-up in the middle of the week, we've got, I think like 20 different Motivation Mondays recorded, and today is like number 21 or 22, I think. So we've been doing this a while, and as long as you guys want to keep watching these things, I know Monday morning is not always the most convenient, but some of you were telling me I need that little extra push. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Dave Luer from Elite Body Shop Solutions, and today's message is called Leading by Example. Leading by example, okay? So I feel that our world right now is badly in need of leadership. And in what some people might consider a bit of a dark world right now, we could really use more leaders. We need people like you out there being the light in what some people consider kind of a dark world. We need more leaders, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this message is all about. So I think great leadership is a little bit misunderstood. In fact, a lot of times when people think of the word leader, they're thinking about like General Patton, or somebody that's leading the troops, or perhaps we're thinking about a fiery halftime speech by a great football coach, and those are certainly examples of leadership, but it's not the type of leadership that I'm referring to today, okay? Right? You can't push people. Modern leadership is not about pushing people. It is about pushing people to a certain extent, but for lasting results, we need to be able to inspire and pull people instead of always just pushing them. We need to be out in front of these people and leading by example. It's kind of like a piece of string. So if you picture, a piece of a string, it's really difficult to push, right? It's just going to get all jumbled up. So you need to be able to pull that string. In other words, leading by example and pulling the other people along to a common vision that we all share and follow. That's really what about modern leadership is all about. It's about leading by example. So, a lot of us actually learn our leadership skills by example. So it's not as important, to, what we say as important as it is to what we do and the examples that we're leading. And this can go along with raising children, leading people, running a business. It's all the same thing. It's what you do and the example that you set that really makes a difference in your ability to lead versus what you say. And so this is an important distinction that I really want a lot of you to really understand today. So another misunderstanding is that leadership has nothing to do with the position that you're in, the title that you were given when you were hired, or maybe you're the owner of the company. So owner is not a leadership position, or it can be, right? General manager, president, vice president of operations, director, CEO, right? These are all titles, but that doesn't necessarily mean just because you have the title that you are in fact a leader. In fact, some of the most valuable leadership lessons I've learned in my life were when I didn't have a position of title. Think about that for a minute. So those of you that are in a managerial position, what would happen to you and how effective would you be if your title was stripped from you? Would you still be able to influence people? Would you still be able to lead the team? I hope that the answer is yes. And if not, don't fear. You can go out and learn some new skills that will enable you to become a better leader, because it's not about title, folks. So I want to talk about one of the greatest leaders that has ever lived on this planet. And his name was, maybe you've heard of him. His name was Gandhi, right? Gandhi freed an entire country from oppression, and that's leadership. And he did it without a title. I think he was like a lawyer or something. Gandhi, was able to lead an entire country and inspired many, many others to create their own civil rights movements. So he had a major impact on the entire planet without having a position of power per se, or a title such as president or vice president or CEO. Major distinction. So in fact, there's a story I want to tell you about Gandhi, and maybe some of you have heard it. But there's a famous story about him back in the 1930s. And, many her looked up to him. He was an inspiration to many. So there was a mother that was very, very worried about her son's addiction to sugar. So they walked for many, many miles to meet his hero, Gandhi, and they stood in line for hours, walked through the hot sun. And finally, they got to meet Gandhi, and the mother pleaded with Gandhi, "Please tell my son to quit eating sweets. The sugar is very, very bad for him." And Gandhi thought about it for a second, and he told the mother, "Come back in 2 weeks." And befuddled, she didn't know why he would do such a thing. But 2 weeks later, they came back, walked for miles, stood in the hot sun, got to see Gandhi again. And she said, I hope you remember me, Gandhi. This is my son." And she says, yes, I remember. And he pulled the young man up close to him and said, "Stop eating sweets. It's not good for you." And the mother said, "Well, why didn't you say that 2 weeks ago?" Because Gandhi said that 2 weeks ago, I was still eating sweets, and he could not lead by example if he was doing the very thing that he was telling this young man not to do. Does that make sense? Leadership is such an important factor. We need better leaders. We need people that can lead by example, right? So remember, managers manage things, leaders lead people. Managers manage things, leaders lead people. That's a very important distinction for those of you watching. If you need to go out and get some new leadership skills, man, I've got a whole bookshelf full of great books. Gung Ho is a great one. A lot of you know I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek. Leaders Eat Last. That's a good one. Here's one that my friend Tony Adams turned me on to, called Traction by Gino Wickman. Very good leadership book. Here's one that I just recently read by Jeffrey Smart called Who. This is a very powerful leadership book. Another one from my friend John Stoof, From Doing to Leading. This was written by somebody that was actually worked in the collision industry. So go out there and get yourself some education on becoming a better leader, something that we can all continue to work on. Again, our world is in desperate need of good leadership. Be the leaders that you wish that you had, and go out there and make a difference every day in your lives and the lives of the people around you. Thank you for joining me today. Now be sure to join me next Monday for Motivation Monday Live, and I will be here for you as long as you guys want to continue getting this content. If there's something specific that you want to hear, let me know. Go to the chat roll. Ann, it's always great to have you. Chuck, Kyoto, Robert, Omar, guys, thank you for taking the time to join me. That means a lot, and I will be here for you every Monday. Thank you for joining me.